happy to join with you today in what will go down in history as the greatest demonstration for freedom in the history of our nation. 50 years ago, a great American, in whose symbolic shadow we stand today, signed the Emancipation Proclamation. This momentous decree came as a great beacon of light of hope to millions of Negro slaves who had been seared in the flames of withering injustice. It came as a joyous daybreak to end the long night of their captivity. But 100 years later, the Negro still is not free. 100 years later, the life of the Negro is still sadly crippled by the manacles of segregation and the chains of discrimination. 100 years later, the Negro lives on a lonely island of poverty in midst of a vast ocean of material prosperity. 100 years later, the Negro is still languished in the corners of American society and finds himself in exile in his own land. And so we've come here today to dramatize a shameful condition. In a sense, we've come to our nation's capital to cash a check. When the architects of our republic wrote the magnificent words of the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, they were signing a promissory note to which every American was to fall heir. This note was a promise that all men, yes, black men as well as white men, would be guaranteed the unalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It's obvious today that America has defaulted on this promissory note, insofar as her citizens of color are concerned. Instead of honoring this sacred obligation, America has given the Negro people a bad check, a check that has become back marked insufficient funds. But we refuse to believe that the Bank of Justice is bankrupt. We refuse to believe that there are insufficient funds in the great vaults of opportunity of this nation. And so we've come to cash this check. A check that will give us on demand the riches of freedom and security of justice. We have also come to this hallowed spot in America to remind America of the fierce urgency of now. This is no time to engage in the luxury of cooling off or to take the tranquilizing drug of gradualism. Now is time to make real the promise of democracy. Now is the time to rise from the dark and desolate valley of segregation to the sunlit path of racial justice. Now is the time to lift our nation from the quicksands of racial injustice to the solid rock of brotherhood. Now is the time to make justice a reality for all of God's children. It would be fatal for the nation to overlook the urgency of this moment. The sweltering summer of the Negro's legitimate discontent will not pass until there is an invigorating autumn of freedom and equality. 1963 is not an end, but a beginning. Those who hope that the Negro needed to blow off steam will be content to have a rude awakening if the nation returns to business as usual. There will be neither rest nor tranquility in America until the Negro is granted his citizenship rights. Whirlwinds of revolt will continue to shake the foundations of our nation until the bright day of justice emerges. But there is something that I must say to my people who stand on the warm threshold which leads to the palace of justice in the process of gaining our rightful place. We must not be guilty of wrongful deeds. Let us not seek to satisfy our thirst for freedom by drinking from the cup of bitterness and hatred. We must forever conduct our struggle on the high plane of dignity and discipline. We must not allow our creative protest to degenerate into physical violence. Again and again, we must rise to the majestic heights of meeting physical force with soul force. The marvelous new militancy which has engulfed the Negro community must not lead us to a distrust of all white people, but for many of our white brothers, as evidenced by their presence here today, have come to realize that their destiny is tied up with our destiny, and that they have come to realize that their freedom is inextricably bound to our freedom. We cannot walk alone, and as we walk, we must make the pledge that we shall always march ahead. We cannot turn back, and there are those who are asking the devotees of civil rights When will you be satisfied? You can never be satisfied as long as the Negro is victim of unspeakable horrors of police brutality. We can never be satisfied as long as our bodies, heavy with the fatigue of travel, cannot gain lodging in the motels of the highways and the hotels of the city. We cannot be satisfied as long as the Negro's basic mobility is from a smaller ghetto into a larger one. We can never be satisfied as long as our children are stripped of their selfhood and robbed of their dignity by signs stating "for whites only." We cannot be satisfied as long as the Negro in Mississippi cannot vote and a Negro in New York believes he has nothing for which to vote. This is Martin Luther King's speech. Yeah. 1963. 1963.
Now, isn't it kind of ironic though? You ask me.
Yeah.
I'm going 1985.
Yeah.
And then, just like civil rights 63. This is 2007. So like, when they ask why is a black American in so much of rage, like, we just know how it feels to be a free man. Sure. So, all of this politicians coming together is really a facade to bring together this new world order what they're bringing together. You know what I'm saying?
It's still not free, yo.
It's still not free?
It's still not free. Everything is still in racism. It's still here. It's only hidden now. You feel me? They put the drugs on the street so the black man can sell it. Then they lock us up and make money off of us in jail. That's all it is.
Always rich and poor.
No one's free.
No one's free.
There's no middle class no
You
more.
have to pay. That's why they give you a social security number.
It's true.
Because from that day on, since the first day you can work, any immigrant that comes in here, unless they're working off the books, have to pay 1%. So, how can you be free for natural resources as God given? If you do believe in it. Water? Why do we gotta pay for water? Why we can't just live off of the fact that man known the science of plumbing to bring water to us and bring it all over the world? Why we have to charge a fee? Why we have to put the middleman in and create an economy? See, the economy is here to treat us like the chess game. The king can only be born. That's why the king is the most important. Then you got the queen, most powerful. As we know, queens can make a generation, or destroy a generation. We've seen it with Egypt, we've seen it with England. We got Elizabeth, we got the slut from Egypt. You know, like, if that's the way you want to put it, she slept with Caesar from Rome, then they invaded, and that was the beginning of the invasion. Now, my situation is, what are we going to do as a people? No matter who don't like who, we got to live on this planet. Like, we still got to live together. So what are we going to do? I don't know.
Can I ask you if you would read some of this? Yeah.
But you think I'm illiterate?
No. I want you to read it out loud so we can film it.
All right, what did you...
I left off of...
And as we walk, we must take the pledge?
Yeah.
And as we walk, we must take the pledge that we shall always march ahead. We cannot turn back. These are those who are acting as devotees of civil rights. When will you be satisfied? We can never be satisfied as long as the Negro is the victim of the unspeakable horrors of police brutality. I know about that. We can never be satisfied as long as our bodies, heavy with the fatigue of travel, cannot gain lodging in the motels of the highways and the hotels of the cities. We cannot be satisfied as long as the Negro's basic mobility is from a smaller ghetto to a larger one. We can never be satisfied as our children are stripped of their selfhood and robbed of their dignity by signs stating for whites only. We cannot be as satisfied as long as Negroes in Mississippi cannot vote and a Negro in New York believes he has not. That's what you left for, because I heard that part. Has nothing which to vote. No, we are not satisfied. We will not be satisfied until justice flows down like waters and righteousness like a mighty stream. I am not unmindful that some of you have come out here from great trials and tribulations. Some of you have come fresh from narrow jail cells. Okay. Who said this? 1963, brother. I said 64. How about you check one from that? You know
supposed to know
some. Wow, that was a hell of a memory for me. Some of you have come from areas where your quest for freedom left you, battered by slow and persecution, and staggered by the winds of police brutality. You have been the veterans of creative suffering. Continue to work with the faith that unearned suffering is redemptive. Redemptive, yes. Go back to Mississippi, go back to Alabama, go back to South Carolina, go back to Georgia, go back to Louisiana, go back to the slums and the ghetto of our northern cities, knowing that somehow this situation can and will be changed. Let us not wallow in the valley of despair. I say to you today, my friends, so even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise above and live out the meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. Hold on. I have to put one button in. When the Constitution was written, the black man was considered 3/5 of the man. So, in order for us to do this, we have to rectify the situation of past knowledge that they brainwash people with and tell them the truth. And see, this is the information age. Cameras, computers. I go to school for computer program. The information age. Now, we have information. You gotta let it go. You gotta let everybody know what the struggle's about. And everybody in the world has a struggle. Because we're all the people. You understand? And I'm gonna get back to this.
What?
Let me get back to this.
You can certainly read it or I'll read it.
No, because I was just saying, because at the point when he said all men are created equal, let's live out this creed, at the point when that was written, we were not stated as equals. That's all I wanted to really state that fact. But I'll get back to this.
Yeah.
I have a dream that one day in the Red Hills of Georgia, the sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream that one day even the state of Mississippi, a state sweltering with the heat of injustice, sweltering with the heat of oppression, will be transformed into an oasis of freedom and justice. I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but the content of their character. I have a dream today. That's so funny. I have a daughter named. My daughter name's Dream. That's no lie, no bullshit. I have a dream that one day down in Alabama with its vicious racists, with its governor having his lips dripping with the words of interposition and nullification, one day right there in Alabama, little black boys and black girls will be able to join hands with little white boys. And you see, this right here is a stigma to the brain. Because in the English dictionary, when you look, like, I'm not even trying to bring it back to the basics, but you always gotta go back to the basics. Because in order to know calculus, you gotta know addition, multiplication, subtraction. Like, once we give ourselves a title, that right there puts a line of significance. Just by putting a title. Because already in the English language, black, ice, black, anything has something to do with something wrong. You understand? And I say because we want to persevere racism to its peak, but that's the way it is. And until we change the format or the way we're educated about certain things, it'll never change. We keep doing this forever until we take it from the basis, from the foundation. And then that's how it can start. I'll get back into this. While white girls are sisters and brothers.
You wanna read the whole thing?
Yes, yeah, why not? I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day every valley shall be exalted and every hill and mountain shall be low. The rough places will be made plain, and the crooked places will be made straight. And the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all the flesh shall see it together. This is our hope. This is the faith that I go back to the south with. I'm sorry. With this faith, we will be able to hew out of the mountain of despair a stone of hope. With this faith, we will be able to transform the jangling discords of our nation into a beauty of symphony of brotherhood. With this faith, we will be able to work together, to pray together, to struggle together, to go to jail together, to stand up for freedom, together knowing that we will be free one day. This will be the day. This will be the day when all of God's children will be able to sing with new meaning. My country, tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, and thee I sing, land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride. From on every mountainside, let freedom ring. And if America is to be a great nation, this must become true. And if so, let freedom ring from the prodigious hilltops of New Hampshire. Let freedom ring from the mighty mountains of New York. Let freedom ring from the heightened Alleghenies of Alleghenies.
A mountain range.
A mountain range? In Pennsylvania, okay. Let freedom ring from the snow-capped Rockies of Colorado. Let freedom ring from the curvaceous slopes of California. But not only that, let freedom ring from the Stone Mountain of Georgia. Let freedom ring from Lookout Mountain of Tennessee. Let freedom ring from every hill and molehill of Mississippi, from every mountainside. Look at this. What word was this?
Allegheny.
Okay. The G-H. Okay, Gaines. This is. What's the purpose of doing this?
Oh, it was an art piece.
An art piece?
Yeah.
You doing art?
For the new school, Parsons, the new school. It's a university
Are
downtown.
you doing art?
Yep.
This is not having nothing to do with culinary art.
You gonna take a
No,
sip of pop?
it's not culinary
But
art.
I know this. What type of art is this?
This is performance art.
Oh, performance. Oh, okay. Okay, that's cool. Let freedom ring, and when this happens, and we allow freedom ring, when we let it ring from every village and every hamlet, from every state and every city, we'll be able to speed up that day when all of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will be able to join hands and sing in the words of the old Negro spiritual, free at last, free at last, thank God Almighty, we are free at last. Okay. My name is Jamali Daniels.
I'm Ben.
Pleased to meet you, the camera guy. What's your name? Todd. Pleased to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Thanks a lot, man.
Good luck.